My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 28, a divorced mom living in Phoenix, Arizona. Last Saturday was supposed to be the most magical day of my 7-year-old son Jake's life, his birthday party. But in one devastating moment, his joy turned to heartbreak. His dream gift, the one he'd saved birthday money for months to help buy, lay destroyed on our kitchen floor. And the person who shattered it, my own sister who claimed it was just tough love. I can still hear Jake's laughter echoing in our backyard that morning. After my divorce 2 years ago, I've poured everything into making sure Jake feels secure and loved. This party meant everything to us. 20 kids from his class, rainbow balloons dancing in the desert breeze, and that special surprise waiting inside, a remote-controlled drone he'd been dreaming about since Christmas. Jake had been so responsible, doing extra chores and saving every birthday dollar from relatives just to help me afford it. The night before, he'd whispered, "Mom, tomorrow's gonna be the best day ever." His gap-toothed smile could have powered our entire neighborhood. I promised myself this would be perfect. No drama, no complications, just pure childhood magic. My sister Lisa arrived fashionably late, as always. At 30, she still acts like the world revolves around her. I noticed something cold in her eyes as she watched Jake unwrap presents from his friends. Simple gifts, art supplies, toy cars, books. But Jake thanked each friend with genuine excitement. That's when Lisa made a comment that chilled me. Some kids get way too much attention. The party was in full swing when Jake asked if he could open his special present early. His friends gathered around, their faces bright with anticipation. I could already picture Jake's expression, that pure joy that makes all the late-night work shifts worth it. In my mind, I saw him flying that drone in our backyard for years to come, maybe even sharing it with the neighborhood kids. This was going to be his moment. But as I headed inside to get the gift, I heard Jake's voice from the kitchen. "Aunt Lisa, what are you doing?" Something in his tone made my blood freeze. Then came the sound that would haunt me for weeks. A crash, followed by Jake's scream of absolute devastation. I really want to know how far this story reaches across the world. Please leave me a comment to help me know. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support means everything and motivates me to keep making better videos. Thank you for being here and listening to this story. I rushed into the kitchen to find my worst nightmare. Jake was on his knees, sobbing over scattered pieces of black plastic and twisted metal. His beautiful drone, the one he dreamed about, saved for, and talked about every single day, was completely destroyed. Propellers snapped, the camera cracked, the body split in half. 3 months of his allowance money reduced to garbage. Lisa stood over the wreckage with her arms crossed, not a trace of remorse on her face. "Welcome to the real world, kiddo," she said coldly. "Life isn't fair, and the sooner you learn that, the better." The casual cruelty in her voice made my hands shake. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. Jake looked up at me with tears streaming down his cheeks. "Mommy," she threw it down the stairs. "She said it was stupid and I didn't deserve it." His voice broke on every word. Behind us, I could hear the party continuing outside, children laughing, completely unaware that Jake's world had just shattered. My mother, who'd been setting out cake plates, immediately jumped to Lisa's defense. "Oh, Sarah, don't overreact." Lisa was just teaching him that things break. Kids these days are too spoiled anyway. The dismissal hit me like a slap. Here was my son, heartbroken on his birthday, and my own mother was taking his tormentor's side. Lisa smirked at my mother's support. "Exactly, Mom. Maybe if Sarah raised him with some backbone instead of babying him, he wouldn't be such a crybaby." She gestured at Jake with disgust. "Look at him, 7 years old and falling apart over a toy. Pathetic." I could hear parents in the backyard starting to ask where Jake was. His friends were waiting for cake, completely innocent of this family nightmare unfolding inside. In that moment, I realized I had a choice that would define not just this day, but Jake's entire understanding of how people who claim to love you should treat you. The old Sarah would have stayed quiet, cleaned up the mess, and made excuses to preserve family peace. But looking at my son's broken heart, I felt something fierce and protective rise up inside me. No one, not even family, was going to destroy my child's joy and get away with it. "Get out," I whispered, my voice trembling with rage. "Get out," I repeated, louder this time. Every parent outside could probably hear me, but I didn't care anymore. Jake was still clutching broken pieces of his drone, and Lisa was actually smiling like she'd accomplished something wonderful. "Sarah, lower your voice," my mother hissed. "You're embarrassing yourself in front of Jake's friends' parents." But as I looked at Lisa's satisfied expression, memories came flooding back. A lifetime of moments exactly like this one. My prom night, when Lisa accidentally spilled red wine all over my white dress an hour before pictures. My college graduation, when she told my boyfriend I'd been cheating on him with lies she'd completely fabricated. My wedding day, when she showed up 2 hours late and then complained loudly about everything from the flowers to the food during the ceremony. Every single milestone, every moment of happiness in my life, Lisa had found a way to poison. And my parents always defended her. "She's just stressed," they'd say. "She doesn't mean it. You know how Lisa is." Well, I was done accepting how Lisa is when it meant my son suffered. "This isn't about embarrassment, Mom. This is about Jake." I knelt down beside my son, who was trying to fit broken propeller pieces back together. "Your aunt deliberately destroyed something precious to you on your birthday. That's not normal family behavior." Lisa rolled her eyes dramatically. "Oh, please, Sarah." "It was just a toy. Kids need to learn disappointment sometime. You're raising him to be weak." "Weak?" The word exploded out of me. "He's 7 years old. He saved his own money for months because he wanted to help me buy this. He wrote thank you notes to every relative who sent him birthday money. There's nothing weak about my son." But Lisa wasn't finished. "Face it, Sarah. Ever since your divorce, you've been overcompensating, spoiling him rotten because you feel guilty about breaking up his home. This kid needs discipline, not more toys." That's when I noticed Jake had gone completely silent. He wasn't crying anymore, and he was just staring at Lisa with an expression I'd never seen before. Understanding. He was finally seeing his aunt for who she really was, and it was breaking something inside him that had nothing to do with the drone. My mother grabbed my arm. "Sarah, apologize to your sister right now. This is ridiculous." "Apologize." I stood up slowly, feeling something shift inside me forever. "My sister just traumatized my child on his birthday, and you want me to apologize?" Lisa crossed her arms smugly. "I'm not going anywhere, Sarah. This is Mom's house, too, and you don't get to kick me out just because you can't handle the truth about your parenting." Outside, I could hear party games starting without the birthday boy. Jake's childhood innocence was dying in this kitchen, and Lisa was enjoying every second of it. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones who know exactly where it hurts. Lisa had spent her entire life mapping my vulnerabilities, and now she was using that knowledge to destroy my son. For the next 15 minutes, the tension in that kitchen was suffocating. Lisa refused to leave, lounging against our counter like she owned the place. Every few minutes, she'd make another cruel comment about Jake's tears or my overprotective parenting. My mother kept insisting I was making a scene, while completely ignoring her grandson's obvious trauma. Jake had retreated into himself, sitting in the corner holding broken pieces of his drone. He wasn't crying anymore, which somehow felt worse. He kept whispering to the shattered plastic, "I'm sorry, I wanted you so much." Hearing my 7-year-old apologize for having dreams was the moment something inside me snapped completely. "Lisa, I'm calling the police if you don't leave my property right now." My voice was steady now, ice cold. Several parents from outside had started peeking through the kitchen window, obviously concerned about why the birthday boy had disappeared. Lisa laughed. Actually, laughed. "The police? Over a broken toy? Go ahead, Sarah. Tell them your sister hurt your feelings by teaching your spoiled brat some life lessons." That's when she pulled out her phone and started recording. "I want everyone to see how unstable you've become since your divorce. Poor Jake, stuck with a mother who can't handle reality. She moved the camera between my tear-streaked face and Jake's broken posture. This is what happens when you raise kids without a father figure. The mention of Jake's father, who'd abandoned us for his secretary, was a direct attack on our deepest wound, but it was Jake's reaction that shattered me. He looked up at Lisa's camera with such confusion and shame, like he was starting to believe he really was the problem. "You planned this," I whispered, the realization hitting me like cold water. "You came here today planning to ruin his party." Lisa's smile was pure venom. "I came here to show you what your precious little prince really is. A weak, spoiled mama's boy who needs to learn how the real world works. Consider this my gift to him." She kept recording as she spoke, capturing Jake's devastated expression for whatever sick purpose she had in mind. "Look at him, Sarah. 7 years old and still crying over toys. What's he going to do when real problems hit? My mother was begging me to just let it go and think about the family, but I was thinking about family. I was thinking about the little boy in the corner who was learning that the adults who claimed to love him would stand by and watch him be torn apart. From outside, I heard one of the parents calling, "Is Jake okay in there?" The kids are asking for him. 20 children were waiting for their friend to come back and be happy, while his own aunt was systematically destroying his spirit. On camera. I looked at Lisa, still smirking behind her phone screen, and made a decision that would change everything. I lunged for Lisa's phone, trying to stop her from recording my son's humiliation any longer. "Delete that video right now." But she held it high above her head, laughing like this was all some hilarious game. "Are you insane?" she shrieked, pulling away from me. "Now you're attacking me." "This is perfect. I'm getting everything on camera." She kept filming even as I grabbed for her wrist, trying to get that phone away from Jake's broken image. What happened next felt like slow motion. Lisa jerked backward to keep the phone from me, stumbled over Jake's scattered birthday wrapping paper, and we both went down hard. The phone skittered across the kitchen tile as Lisa screamed, "She pushed me!" Everyone saw. Sarah pushed me. Jake scrambled out of the way, crying again as his mother and aunt rolled around on the floor like children. Through the kitchen window, I could see horrified parents gathering, their kids pressing against the glass to watch the chaos. This was supposed to be Jake's magical day, and instead it had turned into a nightmare he'd remember forever. I managed to grab the phone and immediately started deleting the videos, but Lisa clawed at my hands, leaving scratches down my wrists. "Those are my property. You can't delete my videos. Videos of my child being traumatized? Watch me." I kept deleting as she tried to grab the phone back, both of us breathing hard and desperate. My mother was frantically trying to separate us, screaming about how we were acting like animals in front of the neighbors. But I could hear something else. Car doors slamming outside. Multiple car doors. Parents were leaving, taking their children away from this mess, and Jake was watching his entire party dissolve into family warfare. "Please stop," Jake whispered from his corner, still holding those broken drone pieces like they were precious artifacts. "Please just stop fighting." But Lisa wasn't done. Even sprawled on the kitchen floor, she was pointing at me dramatically. "I'm calling the police myself. Sarah assaulted me. Everyone here is my witness." She grabbed the house phone with her free hand, already dialing. "Good," I said, surprising myself with my calmness. "Call them. Let's see what they think about an adult who deliberately destroys a child's birthday present and then films his breakdown for entertainment." Lisa's face went white. In all her years of tormenting me, no one had ever threatened to involve authorities before. Family problems stayed in the family. That was always the rule. But I was done playing by rules that protected bullies and sacrificed children. Through the window, I watched Jake's friends getting loaded into their parents' cars, party favors abandoned on our picnic table. The police officers who responded were surprisingly gentle, especially Officer Martinez, who immediately knelt down to Jake's level. "Hey, buddy, I heard it's your birthday today." "That's pretty special." She spoke to him like he mattered, like his feelings were valid, something my own family had failed to do. Lisa immediately launched into her victim performance. "Officers, my sister attacked me completely unprovoked. I was just visiting for my nephew's birthday party, and she went crazy. She showed them the scratches on her hands, conveniently leaving out how she'd gotten them while clawing at me to keep that phone. But Jake, my brave little boy, found his voice." "She broke my drone," he said quietly. "She threw it down the stairs and said I was stupid for wanting it." He held up the largest piece, the cracked camera that would never capture another moment. "I saved all my money to help Mommy buy it." Officer Martinez examined the broken drone while her partner took statements from the parents who'd witnessed the confrontation. One mom, Mrs. Chen, was particularly detailed. The sister seemed to enjoy the child's distress. It was disturbing to watch an adult deliberately hurt a little boy like that. Lisa's story started falling apart when they asked to see her phone. "You can't look at that without a warrant," she protested, clutching it protectively. But Jake piped up again. "She was taking pictures of me crying." Mommy tried to make her stop. "Ma'am, if you were recording a minor child in distress without parental consent, that could be considered harassment," Officer Martinez explained calmly. Lisa's face went from indignant to worried in seconds. That's when they ran her information and discovered something that shocked everyone. Lisa had outstanding warrants for unpaid fines and petty theft charges from 3 different stores. "Sarah," my mother whispered, "did you know about this?" I didn't, but it explained so much. Lisa's desperation, her recent requests for money, her increasing cruelty toward anyone who seemed happy or successful. She'd been spiraling for months, and somehow I'd become her target. "Officers, I want to press charges," I said clearly, "for destruction of property and harassment of my child." Lisa's mouth dropped open. In 30 years of her toxic behavior, no one in our family had ever held her accountable for anything. "Sarah, you can't be serious," my mother pleaded. "She's your sister." Think about what this will do to the family. But I was thinking about family, specifically the little boy who deserved to feel safe and celebrated in his own home. "Mom, look at Jake. Really, look at him." My son was exhausted, traumatized, clutching broken pieces of his dreams. What kind of family allows this? As they prepared to arrest Lisa on the existing warrants, plus the new charges, she turned to me with pure hatred. "You'll pay for this, Sarah. I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. Vindictive witch who destroys families over toys." Jake tugged on my shirt as Lisa was being handcuffed. "Mommy," he whispered, "is Aunt Lisa going to jail because of me?" The question cut straight through me. Even after everything she'd done, my gentle son was worried about causing trouble for his tormentor. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. Protecting his compassionate heart was worth any family drama that followed. "No, baby," I told him. "Aunt Lisa is going to jail because of her own choices." In the weeks that followed Lisa's arrest, our extended family completely fractured. My mother called daily, alternating between guilt trips and outright anger. "How could you do this to your own sister?" "She made a mistake, Sarah. People don't go to jail over birthday parties." But it wasn't just about a birthday party, and deep down, Mom knew it. This was about 30 years of Lisa's unchecked cruelty, 30 years of family members looking the other way while she systematically destroyed anything good in other people's lives. The family reaction was swift and brutal. My father took Lisa's side completely, sending me texts that said things like, "Your sister needs family support right now, not abandonment," and "Jake will get over it, but Lisa might not recover from this betrayal." The fact that he was more concerned about Lisa's feelings than his grandson's trauma told me everything I needed to know about where his priorities lay. 3 of my aunts stopped speaking to me entirely. Aunt Margaret, who'd watched Lisa terrorize me at family gatherings for decades, suddenly developed amnesia about all those incidents. "Lisa was always such a sensitive child," she told other relatives. "Sarah was probably too harsh on her." The rewriting of history had begun. 2 cousins unfriended me on social media with dramatic posts about family loyalty and forgiveness. My cousin Rebecca, who'd personally witnessed Lisa destroy my college graduation celebration, shared quotes about holding grudges and toxic family members who can't let things go. The irony was breathtaking. My family WhatsApp group, once full of daily chatter and shared photos, went silent whenever I posted anything. If I shared a picture of Jake smiling, no hearts or comments. If I mentioned a work achievement, complete radio silence. But when someone posted about visiting Lisa in county jail, suddenly everyone was very chatty about supporting family during difficult times. The message was clear. I had violated the sacred rule of family loyalty by refusing to be Lisa's victim anymore. In their eyes, I wasn't the mother who'd protected her child from abuse. I was the vindictive sister who destroyed family harmony over a simple misunderstanding. But something unexpected happened too. The parents from Jake's party started reaching out, not with judgment but with support. Mrs. Chen brought over homemade cookies and told me, "You did what any good mother would do." My own sister used to bully my daughter until I cut contact. Best decision I ever made. Mr. Rodriguez, whose son Tommy was Jake's best friend, stopped me at the grocery store. "I wish I had half your courage when dealing with my toxic brother-in-law. He's been tormenting my kids for years, and I keep making excuses to keep peace." Watching you stand up to your sister inspired me to finally set boundaries. Jake's teacher, Mrs. Wilson, pulled me aside at school pickup. Jake told me what happened at his party. "I want you to know that standing up to family bullies is one of the hardest things a parent can do. You should be proud. I see too many children whose parents sacrifice their well-being to maintain toxic family relationships." The community support was overwhelming. Local parents started sharing their own stories of family members who'd crossed lines with their children. I realized I wasn't alone. There was an entire network of parents who'd faced similar choices between family loyalty and child protection. Still, the family pressure was relentless. My mother showed up at my work 3 weeks after the arrest, crying about how Lisa was falling apart in county jail, how the family was destroyed, because I couldn't forgive a simple mistake. "She's getting therapy now, Sarah." She realizes she was wrong. Doesn't that count for something? "Mom, she filmed Jake's breakdown for entertainment. She planned to humiliate him." That's not a mistake. That's deliberate cruelty. "But she's your sister. Blood is thicker than water." Actually, Mom, the full quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb." It means the relationships we choose are stronger than the ones we're born into. I choose Jake. My mother stared at me like I'd spoken in a foreign language. The concept that family bonds weren't automatically sacred, regardless of behavior, was completely foreign to her generation. That's when I discovered the truth about Lisa's therapy breakthrough. While going through her belongings to prepare for her court date, my mother found notebooks filled with detailed plans for ruining my life, lists of my friends to spread rumors to, screenshots of my social media posts with cruel commentary written in margins, phone numbers of Jake's teachers with notes about concerns she planned to voice about my parenting. Even worse, bank statements showing she'd been stealing from our 85-year-old grandmother's account for over 2 years. Small amounts that wouldn't be noticed immediately. Our grandmother, who'd been worrying about affording her medications while Lisa spent her money on designer clothes and expensive dinners. The woman who'd accidentally destroyed Jake's drone had actually been systematically planning our family's destruction for months. Her cruelty wasn't impulsive. It was calculated, deliberate, and escalating. The birthday party wasn't an isolated incident, it was the culmination of a campaign of psychological warfare. When I showed these notebooks to my mother, she finally went quiet. No more daily calls defending Lisa, no more guilt trips about family loyalty. She sat at my kitchen table, reading page after page of her daughter's venomous plans, and I watched 30 years of denial crumble in real time. "I didn't know," she whispered. "Sarah, I swear I didn't know she was this sick." "But you did know she was cruel, Mom. You've watched her hurt me my entire life. You just chose to minimize it. The family reckoning was brutal. When word spread about the notebooks and the theft, some relatives finally began questioning their loyalty to Lisa. My Uncle Dave, who'd initially defended her, called to apologize. "I had no idea it was this bad, Sarah. I'm sorry for giving you grief about pressing charges." But others doubled down. Aunt Margaret insisted the notebooks were just venting and that Lisa never would have acted on her plans. Cousin Rebecca claimed I'd probably planted evidence to justify my vendetta. The mental gymnastics required to maintain Lisa's innocence were truly impressive. Jake, meanwhile, was slowly healing. The community response had been incredible. Parents from his class pooled money to buy him a replacement drone, better than the original. The local news even picked up the story, calling it "A Community Comes Together for Birthday Boy." But the real gift wasn't the new drone. It was watching Jake realize that adults could protect him, that his feelings mattered, that standing up to bullies, even family bullies, was not only okay but necessary. One night, as I tucked him in, he said, "Mom, I'm glad Aunt Lisa can't hurt us anymore." Then he paused, thinking carefully. "But I still feel sorry for her. She must be really sad inside to want to break other people's happiness." Even at 7, my son understood something many adults in our family never would. Hurt people, but that doesn't make it acceptable. 3 months later, Jake and I were in our backyard on a perfect Saturday morning, flying his new drone high above the desert landscape. The whirring of the propellers had become the soundtrack of our healing. A sound that once represented heartbreak now filled our days with joy and possibility. The replacement drone, crowdfunded by his classmates' families, was indeed better than the original. It had a longer flight time, a clearer camera, and most importantly, it carried the love of an entire community who'd rallied around a little boy's broken dreams. But watching Jake pilot it with confidence and pure delight, I realized the real transformation wasn't in the technology. It was in us. "Mom, look! I can make it do loops now!" Jake called out, his gap-toothed grin brighter than the Arizona sun. The same child who'd cowered in our kitchen corner 3 months ago was now fearless, commanding his drone through complex maneuvers with the joy of someone who finally felt safe to dream again. The journey to this moment hadn't been easy. Those first few weeks after Lisa's arrest were dark. Jake had nightmares about family members breaking his things. He'd wake up crying, asking if other relatives were going to hurt him too. I realized that Lisa's cruelty had shattered more than a drone. It had broken his fundamental trust in family bonds. We started therapy together with Dr. Amanda Chen, a family counselor who specialized in childhood trauma. Jake was initially reluctant to talk, but Dr. Chen had a gentle way of helping him process his feelings without making him feel responsible for adult problems. "Jake," she said during our 3rd session, "when grown-ups hurt children, it's never the child's fault. Your aunt made choices that were wrong. You didn't cause those choices by wanting a birthday present or by being excited about your party." Slowly, Jake began to understand that love shouldn't come with conditions or cruelty. Real family, whether blood-related or chosen, protects and celebrates each other. They don't tear down dreams. They help build them higher. The legal proceedings had concluded 2 weeks ago. Lisa pleaded guilty to theft charges for stealing from our grandmother and received probation for the destruction of property. The harassment charges were dropped as part of her plea deal, something that initially frustrated me until I realized I didn't need a court's validation to know what she'd done was wrong. More importantly, the restraining order I'd filed was granted. Lisa couldn't contact Jake or me for 2 years. The relief of not having to worry about surprise visits or manipulative phone calls was immeasurable. For the first time in my adult life, I could breathe without wondering when Lisa's next attack would come. My relationship with my parents remained strained, but was slowly improving. My mother had started therapy of her own after discovering Lisa's notebooks. I enabled her, she admitted during a tearful phone call last week. "I was so afraid of conflict that I let her hurt you for years." "I'm sorry, Sarah. I failed you as a mother." The apology meant everything, but the real change came in her actions. When Lisa was released from county jail and asked to stay at their house, my mother said no. When Lisa demanded family visits and holiday invitations, my parents stood firm. They'd finally learned that supporting one daughter didn't require sacrificing another. My father's transformation was even more dramatic. The man who'd initially blamed me for destroying the family had read every page of Lisa's vengeful notebooks. Last month, he showed up at my door with tears in his eyes and a new bicycle for Jake. "I've been thinking about all the times she hurt you growing up," he said quietly. "All the times I told you to be the bigger person or just ignore her. I taught you that your feelings didn't matter as much as keeping peace. I'm so sorry, sweetheart." We still had work to do in rebuilding our relationship, but seeing him finally acknowledge the truth was a start. Jake deserved grandparents who would protect him, not ones who would sacrifice him to enable toxic behavior. The community's support never wavered. Mrs. Chen continued bringing us meals during particularly difficult weeks. Mr. Rodriguez's son, Tommy, became Jake's best friend, and their families grew close through shared understanding of how precious childhood innocence really is. Jake's teacher, Mrs. Wilson, nominated us for a local Courage and Community Award, which we accepted together at a school assembly. Standing on that stage with my son, talking about the importance of protecting children from family bullies, I felt proud instead of ashamed for the first time in months. But the most healing moment came last week during Jake's follow-up therapy session. Dr. Chen asked him how he felt about his birthday now, whether it still made him sad to remember. Jake thought for a long moment, then smiled. "It was the scariest day, but it was also when I learned that my mom would always protect me. And when I learned that lots of people care about kids being safe, so maybe it was actually a good birthday, just in a different way." His wisdom stunned me. This 7-year-old had taken the worst day of his young life and found meaning in it, found gratitude in it. He understood that sometimes love requires difficult choices, that sometimes protecting someone means disappointing others. As we packed up his drone that Saturday morning, Jake looked at me seriously. "Mom, I'm really glad we don't have to see Aunt Lisa anymore. But I hope someday she learns how to be nice to kids." "Me too, baby," I said, pulling him close. "Me too." That's when I knew we'd truly healed. Jake's heart remained compassionate despite everything he'd endured. He could wish wellness for someone who'd hurt him while maintaining healthy boundaries. At 7 years old, he'd mastered something many adults never. Learn true family isn't about blood relations or obligation. It's about showing up with love, protection, and genuine care. It's about celebrating each other's dreams instead of destroying them. And sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to treat you with basic human dignity, even if they share your DNA. Jake's birthday taught us both that we deserve relationships built on love, not loyalty extracted through fear or guilt. We'd chosen to surround ourselves with people who lifted us up, and in return, we do the same for others. The drone soared higher, carrying our hopes with it into the endless blue sky.